savor our desert, but this desert right around our town where we recreate held 57 bodies, 57 remains of human beings last year. 57. Do you find remains in your parks, in your golf courses, in your neighborhood playgrounds? What would that make you feel like?
May the spirits of our brothers and sisters walk in beauty for eternity. Thank you, Creator.
I'm Scott Warren, and I'm a geographer, and I've lived in Ajo for about 6 years now. The moment that really changed for me, got me involved in a big way, was moving here to Ajo and just experiencing the border in a more visceral way, being here in the summer, running into people in the desert who had walked across the desert and were in need of water, meeting other folks who were doing humanitarian aid. It just seemed like, if not the most important, one of the most important issues facing this place. For me, to not be involved in that would be like not being fully engaged and fully present in this place. So groups like No More Deaths and Samaritans, Humane Borders, Águilas del Desierto, and the Armadillos, for instance, have all provided humanitarian aid and done search and rescue in different ways here in the desert. We went from finding human remains every other month to like finding 5 sets of human remains on a single trip, hiking through the Growler Valley, and then going back, a week later and finding 2 more sets of remains, and then on a single day of searching, finding like 8 sets of remains and bodies of people who had died in adjacent areas of the bombing range and on Cabeza, Prieta. So just this like scale of this crisis, of the humanitarian crisis and the missing persons crisis, just blew wide open.
My name is Cesar Ortigosa, and I'm the president of Armadillo Search and Rescue. We've been doing this for almost 6 years. We're planning on sticking together for a long time. This work is really necessary for the families that are in need of our help.
Yeah, we're going to La Muela right now.
¿A dónde van? ¿A La Muela?
La Muela, yeah, we're searching for a guy that was left out there.
What, you're searching for a body?
Yeah.
Is it just one that you know of, or?
Yeah, well, there is three actually.
3?
Okay. But one of them is the more recent.
And it's really.
We hope to find them today.
It's really grateful to have all these people, these volunteers, because we might belong to different families. We might not even be related to each other, but inside here we have to be a family,
En tus manos están con bien, Señor, y te pedimos en esta mañana, Dios, que tú seas ayudándonos a poder llegar hasta donde están estas personas necesitando de tu ayuda, Padre mío, para que podamos auxiliarlas, ya que ese es el propósito de nuestros corazones.
Don Julio.
We just have to be realistic and know that we have to be strong. Even though it breaks our hearts to find these remainings, we have to be strong and keep on going, because otherwise we wouldn't be able to do this job. About 3 months ago, we found the remains from a little boy or girl, probably 5, 6 years old. And it's really sad to think what they had to go through and how they died. And knowing that their families won't be able to see them anymore, it's really, really hard. But we have to keep on doing it. It's really necessary. Our responsibility is to give them the coordinates, and once they have it, that's really up to them if they come over and get him.
In January of 2018, I was arrested by Border Patrol and charged with harboring. In the Border Patrol criminal complaint against me, they said that I was providing food, water, beds, and clean clothes to two men. And so they charged me with harboring. Went through Border Patrol custody, then appeared in front of a judge and was released on my own recognizance. And that was over a year ago, and we've been engaged in various legal proceedings leading up to a potential trial sometime later this year.
I'm Mimi Phillips. I moved to Ajo about 15 years ago, and about 8 or 9 years ago, a group of us began a small version of the Samaritans here. I guess every time I look at Scott, I think of my own son. And it's unconscionable to think that he's been charged with felonies for doing what, as a parent, I would be so proud of what he'd done. And I know his parents are proud.
People have always crossed in the Ajo area. People have always been walking through the desert. People have always been finding ways to come here through the desert. But what happened is it was turned into a major industrial scale operation in the 1990s and early 2000s as they really pushed people out into places like these deserts and mountains. What had been really a small scale thing, local organizations that move people and goods through the desert, a small handful of Border Patrol agents that might go out and try to interdict people or might be involved in finding people who had died, or local residents who would respond to people who needed food and water. That all just completely mushroomed into this massive, massive industry.
You reach a point where you say, enough. Whatever the consequences are, enough.
Drivers with permits should come together to be able to approach law enforcement, and everyone else.
How many more bodies? It's just not okay. We're here and we will leave the water, and we are a real community that isn't a scary place to live.
I think one important thing is that people here in Ajo and other local communities on the border have always been providing humanitarian aid and have always responded to people being in need. People here have, provided food and water to folks who are crossing the desert who are in desperate condition. They've responded to rescue people who are in the desert. They've found and recovered the bodies and the bones of people who have died in the desert. So that's been going on for forever, basically, and has been a fact of life for people who live here.
Buenas tardes.
Buenas tardes.
I want to start off by saying who I am. I'm Jose Castillo, and I've been around here for almost 80 years. We honor these individuals today with the reading of their names. Please respond with presente when the name is called. Desconocido.